to build on that, India has a huge youth population. And when it comes to gender-based violence, we have adopted a strategy where we are trying to involve a lot of youth, make them aware of their legal rights and the issue in particular. And we use technology to do that. So we get them to ring fence an area, select an area that they would like to work in, get them to deep dive, collect a lot of data on sexual harassment, and then analyze it and find out what are the issues in that community that is causing women and girls to feel unsafe, and then brainstorm ideas. We don't tell them what are the solutions, but they come up for themselves in that community. And some very interesting ideas have come out of that. So for example, we involved a group of young 13-year-old girls. And we explained what is gender and sex and the cultural norms and attitudes that need to be challenged. And now they are standing up for themselves and questioning their parents when their parents have double standards with their brothers, saying, why do they have a different yardstick, and why is it a different yardstick for us? And why can't we do the same thing? And in another community, these young people crowd mapped an area, and we found some hotspots. And one of them was this hotspot where women were getting molested because they didn't have access to a toilet. But when we zoned into that space, we found that there were actually toilets available. But they were under lock and key because the municipal authorities did not really want to maintain them. But armed with the data, they went to the municipal authorities and pressured them to actually make the toilets available. And so now, they don't really have to get assaulted when they go to the forest area or the bushes to relieve themselves. So I think involving youth is critical because they are willing to adopt technology. They have an aspiration for a better life, and we can harness that power.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So it sounds like it's not only about bringing youth to the table, but also diversifying the skill sets, data, technology. You mentioned design, IDEO.org, and I know folks from Mass are in the room. And Brian, obviously you don't have a medical background. You're working on systems breakdowns, and I'm curious what skill sets you need at the table or you hope will come to the field of global health in order to ensure that there's equity and access.
Sure, yeah. I mean, I think I was actually speaking with someone recently and kind of laughing about it a bit. I came sort of from the private sector over through Global Health Corps into Partners in Health, and I was sort of struck by how discussion-based decision-making is in nonprofit and global health work, and there's significant advantages and disadvantages, and I think to me, what I've learned over the years is there's just a massive need for effective communication, for the ability to kind of draw people into an idea, to do effective coalition building around an idea to push it forward. Technical expertise is really important as well, but I think what we found is I've seen a lot of great technically sound ideas just not launch, not kick off, and I think part of that is in the articulation and the coalition building. And so, I shared the same sentiment that the critical nature of involving youth, and I think there's just not enough opportunities. People around the world, young people I see all the time, are so thirsty to affect positive change in their communities, and I think have these skills, are really effective at communication. I mean, we think about the modalities of communication that we see today from Twitter. I mean, people are communicating nonstop, and it's actually really interesting to see the level at which I'm constantly impressed. I went to a community in rural Malawi about a year ago, actually now, that we were discussing about building a new health center, and the community came out, and among its elected leaders was like somebody who couldn't have been more than 18 years old that was representing the entire community around the construction and the development of a health facility because of his ability to communicate, because of his education. And I think if there's a way to kind of harness that, we're seeing it now, and there just needs to be more opportunities.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.